Moses, one of the greatest prophets in human history, the man who stood before Pharaoh and commanded, "Let my people go." The man who parted the Red Sea, led Israel to freedom, and received the Ten Commandments directly from the hand of God. But despite his monumental role in biblical history, his death remains shrouded in mystery. Unlike Abraham, Jacob, or King David, whose burial sites were recorded, Moses simply vanished. The Bible tells us that God himself buried him, and to this day, no one knows where. But why? Why would God personally handle Moses' burial? And then there's the most mysterious part. In the New Testament, a shocking revelation appears. There was a supernatural battle over Moses' body. The Archangel Michael and Satan himself fought over it. But why? What was at stake? Could it be that Moses' body held a secret that Satan desperately wanted to control? Stay with me, because we're about to uncover a mystery that has baffled scholars for centuries. And by the end of this video, you'll see why this question is more important today than ever before. Let's start with the biblical account of Moses' death. Deuteronomy 34 verses 5 to 6 says, "So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows his grave to this day." Did you catch that? God himself buried Moses. Now, this is completely unique in Scripture. No other biblical figure had God personally handle their burial. So why was Moses different? One possible reason is to prevent idolatry. Remember, Moses was revered by the Israelites. If they had access to his grave, they might have turned it into a shrine, worshiping him instead of God. But there's another theory, one that goes far beyond mere idolatry. Some scholars believe that the secrecy surrounding Moses' burial was because God had future plans for him, plans that Satan wanted to sabotage. And this brings us to one of the most overlooked verses in the New Testament, one that reveals a heavenly battle over Moses' remains. In the book of Jude, we find a mysterious passage that most Christians have never heard preached about. Jude 1 verse 9 says, "Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, disputed about the body of Moses, dared not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, 'The Lord rebuke you.'" Wait a minute, what? This verse describes a literal conflict between Michael the archangel and Satan himself. And what were they fighting over? Moses' body. But why? Think about it. Moses was dead. His spirit had already departed. So why would Satan want his corpse? One theory is that Satan wanted to use Moses' body as a tool to deceive Israel, perhaps by resurrecting or possessing to lead them astray. This wouldn't be the first time Satan used deception to turn people away from God. But there's another, even deeper possibility, one that ties directly into the prophecies of the last days. Fast forward to the book of Revelation, and we find mysterious prophecy about two witnesses who will appear in the end times. Revelation 11 verses 3 to 6 says, "And I will give power to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. If anyone tries to harm them, fire comes from their mouths and devours their enemies. They have power to shut up the heavens, so that it will not rain during the time they are prophesying, and they have power to turn the waters into blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they want." Now, notice something very important. These two witnesses perform miracles exactly like Moses and Elijah, turning water to blood. Moses did this in Egypt. Calling down plagues. Moses did this during the Exodus. Shutting the heavens so it won't rain. Elijah did this in the Old Testament. Calling down fire from heaven. Elijah also did this. This has led many Bible scholars to believe that the two witnesses will be none other than Moses and Elijah, returning in the end times to confront the Antichrist. And here's where things get really interesting. In Matthew 17, we see an incredible event, the Transfiguration. Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up a mountain. Suddenly, he is transformed before them, shining in radiant glory. And standing beside him are two figures, Moses and Elijah. But think about this for a second. Elijah never died. He was taken up to heaven alive. So it makes sense that he could return in the future. But Moses did die. So how is he appearing beside Jesus? And why him of all people? This has led some to believe that Moses' body was not just buried, but preserved by God for a future purpose. And if Moses is destined to return in the last days, it explains exactly why Satan tried to claim his body, because he knew that Moses had a role to play in God's final plan. So, let's summarize what we've uncovered. God personally buried Moses, which means his death had a unique, divine significance. Satan fought for his body, suggesting there was something powerful about it. Moses appears in the New Testament alongside Elijah, hinting at a future role. Revelation speaks of two end-times witnesses who performed the same miracles as Moses and Elijah. Could it be that Moses' mission is not yet complete? Could he return in the final days to stand against the forces of evil one last time? And more importantly, if God went to such extraordinary lengths to protect Moses' body, what does that tell us about his power over life and death? Here's the truth. God is in control. The same God who buried Moses, who preserved him, who will one day raise him again, that same God is watching over you. Your destiny is in his hands. If this video opened your eyes to something new, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future biblical deep dives. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe Moses will be one of the two witnesses? Or do you think his story ended in the Old Testament? Leave a comment below. I read every single one. And if you found this video powerful, share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Because the Bible is filled with hidden truths, just waiting to be uncovered.